you should still have relations. Okay, let's go back to 1 Corinthians 7. Then verses 4 to 9. Verses 4 to 9.
Or the wife does not have the wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. And likewise the husband does not have authority over his body, but the wife does. Do not deprive one another, except with agreement for a time, to give yourself to fasting and prayer, and come together again, so that Satan does not try you, because you are lack of self-control. And I say this as a concession, not a command. For I wish that all men were even as I myself, but each one has his own gift from Elohim. That one in this way, and another in that. And I say to the unmarried and to the widows, it is good for them if they remain even as I am. But if they do not have self-control, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn.
Okay, some comments. I think we all know the scripture where it says that the husband is head of the wife. You can find that, by the way, in 1 Corinthians 11 verse 3. We will not read it. So that's the general principle. The husband is head of the wife.
Verse 11.
Here we see, I think this is the one area in marriage where it's 50-50. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does, and likewise the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. So here it's 50-50. It's equal, it's in balance. Same rights for husband and wife. Do not deprive one another, except with agreement for a time, to give yourselves to fasting and prayer. That's a short time. That's not 5 years or so, or 10 years. Based on this verse, verse 5, you cannot conclude that it's okay to be separated when you're married. On the contrary, it says, do not deprive one another, except with agreement. So there must be agreement of both parties. And for what reason? To go to Dubai to make money. To go on a ship to make money. No. To give yourselves to fasting and prayer. That's the reason given by Paul. This is a principle. Scripture does not govern in all details our lives, so I'm not excluding that it can be possible that you are in a situation where, the husband needs to go out for a prolonged period of time to make money for the family. But please be aware of the fact this is not Yahweh's perfect will. If you feel that there is no other choice, maybe. Who am I to judge that? But I'm just reading here. It says here to give yourselves to fasting and prayer, so you should make all possible effort to avoid such situations. I'm not saying it's better to go hungry than to deprive one another. I'm not saying you should let your children starve, but I'm sure Yahweh will provide a way for you to stay together as a family and still survive. If you must be poor, if it turns out you would be poor, but poor in the sense of still having enough food to eat and a modest shelter, a roof above your head, well, so be it. So be it. That is better than being separated, because if you're separated, obviously you are depriving one another, right? Cannot be done, cannot be otherwise. And then it says, come together again so that Satan does not try you because of your lack of self-control. I say this as a concession, not as a command. I wish that all men were even as I myself. So apparently Paul was, well, either single or a widower. It looks like, from other passages, it looks like Paul was or had been a member of the Sanhedrin, and apparently they allow only married men there. So maybe he has been married and he's a widower.
He's been married, Paul?
Or he is simply single, maybe never been married. Scripture does not clearly state so, but it's obvious he has no wife. How come he has no wife? Has he had a wife and then she died, or he has never been married? We do not know for sure. He says, I wish all men were even as I myself, but each one has his own gift from Elohim, one in this way and another in that. So Paul is very realistic. He knows that not all men are like he is, or as he is. He knows that.